been under the weather, so bear with me, man. This influenza type A is just like lingering on. But I'm starting to see now uh, videos and posts relating to the dancing Israelis this last 3 days. And one post comes to mind here on Twitter. This is Marina Medvin, I don't, a pro-Israeli profile, but you know, whatever. I mean, but she wrote a long post, and I'm not addressing the whole thing. So I just want to take this one part, show you, and there's so much. What's fascinating about all this is that people would rather have a racy headline, would rather post something sensationalist, even at the behest of their audience, because they allow for ideology to become paramount over the truth. And I'll give you this is the perfect example of this. She's pro-Israeli, but her post is demonstrably false, and this is the reason for the video. Guys, the dancing Israeli ship was made up by one of the Muslim 9/11 hijackers. I never heard of this theory ever, and I think it's mixed up because there were Israeli conspiracy theories that originated out of uh, the Muslim Brotherhood. And out of all people, it was the late Jamal Khashoggi who actually refuted some of these, including that the Jews didn't show up to work in the World Trade Center. That was made up by Arab newspapers. This was not. Okay. It was then bolstered by various Islamic nations who culturally blame everything on the Jews. If you're not aware, you should read about it. It's fascinating. Cultural anthropology books on this. So if you find yourself repeating a Middle Eastern terrorist propaganda, you should ask yourself, how the hell did you get in that place in life? Well, I throw it back at you, Marina, and I want you to see this video. This is not I'm not going to use ad hominems on you. I don't need to. Um, I'm going to show you why you're wrong, right? It was not made by one of the. First of all, that doesn't even make sense. And I thought, my co-researcher and good friend DJ Thorden addressed this, and rightfully so. He says that's one of the dumbest things I ever heard. Yes, the dancing Israeli shit was not made up by one of the hijackers. They're dead. Secondly, they're on video saying that, yeah, we were filming the event. Now, look, I'm not saying that the Israelis planned to orchestrate 9/11. That's for anti-Jews, the groypers of the world, the simple-minded. But you're not gonna dismiss the fact that Israeli intelligence were involved because they were living in close proximity to not just one or two of the hijackers, but all 19. Actually, they gave the list to the CIA in August of 2001. This is coming from the CIA. All throughout that summer of 2001, it stated that Russia, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Pakistan, Italy, Canada gave vague warnings. Warnings that basically said Bin Laden is a threat to airline industry. Here's a real conspiracy. We've known that since 1995 and did nothing. The intelligence services, what did they say in the year 2002, 2003, and two congressional inquiries, and to the inspector general reports of the FBI and CIA? What did they say? Oh, we didn't have enough intelligence to stop the attacks. Which one is it, right? So let's get back to your point that it was bolstered by various Islamic nations who blamed everything. No, it wasn't. It was actually bolstered in the East Rutherford Police Department report written up by Scott DiCarlo and his partner, Sergeant Dennis Ravelli, who actually pulled out the Israelis in the truck on East Rutherford during, I think it was 3:30 p.m. on September 11, 2001. Then they were handed over to the FBI, and the FBI wrote a report. And why don't we might as well, Marina, we might as well read that report or, read parts of it. Here you go. And it's just one. There's 40 something pages. I'm not going to bore you with it. It's September 14, 2001. Routine Newark, who took control of the case of the dancing Israelis. They had them detained for 71 days. Now, remember, this is important. This is important here, Marina, and to anybody else. Synopsis: established bases linking 5 Israeli nationals for the 9/11 attacks, right? Details: uninstant date. Newark initiated an investigation predicated upon the detention of 5 Israeli nationals who may have possessed information about the terrorist incident targeting the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. The following sets forth the basis for linking these 5 Israeli nationals to the 9/11 attacks. Oh, well, maybe it says something. Oh, would you look at that? An entire page redacted. Maybe on the net. Oh, I'm guessing a short no was not in the synopsis, or there were none. Because if they wrote there were none, you wouldn't be able to redact 2 pages worth. How about that? Now, there's a video I want to share with you. And also, just to add to you, Marina, is the East Rutherford report. And as you can see, the plaintiff Scott DeColo, police officer Scott DeColo. And you could see it here. If you want to pause and read it for yourself, I'll do this and then do this, and then you can read it because I don't want to bore you, right? Just to add, Marina, and to anybody else that's reading this, they named the 5 men, and one of them is Omar Mamre. Omar Mamre had a an ID card, a residence in Hollywood, Florida. By the way, in Hollywood, Florida, there were Israeli nationals, an art student ring, a unit that was headed by a person named Hanan Sarfati, who was living in close proximity to who? Marwan al-Shehi and Muhammad Atta and Ziad Jarrah. These are the people who are called the Hamburg Cell. These are the pilot hijackers of 9/11. Atta for Flight 11, al-Shehi for Flight 175, and Ziad Jarrah for Flight 93. Alejandro was in San Diego and Arizona with Khalid al-Mihdhar and Alapa Hazmi. So the Israelis were living next door to these people, like in close proximity to where they were living at. And not only were they using moving companies, but they would pose against art students. Some of them were actually young men and women who were trying to get art for sale. But some of these people were military commanders. Some of them were explosive experts. Some of them were lieutenants. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing selling art? It doesn't make sense. Well, let's go back to the claim that, it was made by one of the hijackers. Right now, you're wrong. It wasn't made by the hijackers. They were real. And it wasn't spread by one of the hijackers because that wouldn't even make sense. They're dead at this point. But here's a video. It's 8 minutes long, and it'll explain better than I ever could.
But particularly in the Middle East, millions of people involved in the attack. And they claim there is a basis for their suspicions. Moments after the planes hit the World Trade Center, eyewitnesses reported seeing a group of young men apparently celebrating.
My grandma binoculars, and I'm trying, to look
Maria.
at the
She looks at Doric
towers.
Towers. So let me explain a little bit here. Doric Towers is in Jersey City, right? And it has a great view over the Hudson, which actually looks at Lower Manhattan. Clear day, Tuesday, on September 11, 2001. And she's looking. Now, her neighbor called her and said, go out the window. Look, the World Trade Center's on fire. She grabbed her binoculars because she can't see very well. You can see she's wearing glasses. And as she's looking, she hears a commotion down below, which is the garage, the top of the garage area. And she sees a box truck, 3 men celebrating, high-fiving. You're Israelis, by the way. Of course, I'm not one of those people that says, oh, look, Israel, what a great ally. But this is not about, oh, they're acting like jerks. Why would you celebrate an ally being attacked by radical Islamists? And if that was the case, how the fuck would they know they were radical Islamists on the plane to begin with? So if they're just innocent Israelis celebrating, what the fuck are they celebrating about? Were they madmen? What are you, a sicko? They knew. Now I can't prove it. I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, Israel did 9/11." I'm not. I'm not irresponsible like that. I like to think I'm very careful because I want my audience to be educated, not led to believe anything. I want them to know something. Knowledge is power. So in this case, why are they celebrating? Is it because they fucking know that the United States is going to respond and destroy millions of Arabs, which they did in Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya and Syria and Pakistan? Oh, I don't know, right? But you can't say anymore that this is a conspiracy theory made by the hijackers.
My attention down there, I see this van parked, and I see three guys on top of the van. They seem to be taking a movie, and I could see that they were like happy, you know, they're laughing. They didn't look shocked to me.
By the way, the dancing part came from the media. The FBI called them the high fivers because that's what Maria saw. They were high fiving each other, hugging. Later on, there was a FOIA that was requested for the photographs that were taken, and some of them were released. I think the person who got it was an online personality called Pepe the Frog or something. Imagine that. And they got the photographs released. They show you them, flicking lighters and in the background with the World Trade Center on fire. This is not a conspiracy. It's public. Again, what are they celebrating about? You tell me. You're the one defending these people. I'm not.
Part of New Jersey has a large Muslim community. It would turn out that 3 of the 9/11 hijackers had lived there. A major terrorist manhunt began, and just 6 hours after the attack, the van was stopped at a roadblock by patrolman Scott DiCarlo.
We were asked to detain the van and the passengers. They were just removed from the vehicle, patted down for safety precaution, and detained.
911 call at 410 Park.
I think once the FBI arrived, one of them stated that they were on our side. There's something to that effect. The mood was confusion. As people were driving by, they were screaming all sorts of excerpts. Profanity, things to that effect. Nothing that I'd care to repeat.
3-1 day, they're in service.
Over 2 months of interrogation began. The FBI discovered the men weren't from Al-Qaeda. They were Israelis. An enduring conspiracy theory began that they were Israeli field agents who'd uncovered the 9/11 plot in advance.
Now, is that a crazy conspiracy theory? No. Because what's the basis for intelligence? To collect information regarding a terrorist event before it even happens, to stop it. Or if you're nefarious and have nefarious agendas, to collect information, not share it with one another in order for it to be successful. Now, if you think that's a little bit far-fetched, the CIA was running an illegal operation with Saudi intelligence regarding the monitoring of 2 known Al-Qaeda operatives and didn't tell the FBI or the State Department, Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. So, if that's the case, what makes the Israelis separate? The Israelis benefited from 9/11. Fuck, even the prime minister basically said that this was good for Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu said that. When asked, how did he feel? He goes, well, the attacks were good for Israel. good for Israel. When you're a madman like Netanyahu is, who belongs under the jails of the International Criminal Court, never to see light again. You can basically be apathetic to the human condition. Now, am I going to go out of my way and say these five guys knew about 9/11 before it happened? I'm not going there. Why? Because I don't have that specific information. But where there's smoke, there's fire. One, why are they celebrating? Two, why did they fail all their polygraphs? Three, why did the FBI basically write a report and redact 2 pages long regarding their thoughts about why these men were linked to the 9/11 attacks? Just fill in the fucking blanks. If we're protecting Saudi Arabia currently regarding their role in the 9/11 attacks, and it's much more pronounced in Israel, what do you think we're going to do for Israel? Look, by the way, do you need a wake-up call? Do you see everybody in Congress taking APAC money? You think that they're going to suddenly say, oh, we got more information regarding Israel's pre-intelligence role regarding 9/11, which could have stopped the 9/11 attacks? You think that's ever going to come out? No, of course not. They wouldn't even get that far because Israel's involved with American politics for a fucking reason. Muslims are bad. Muslims are bad. If that was the case, we'd be at war every single day for the last 100 years. There are more Muslims than anybody else on earth. So spare me the racist bullshit.
Israel had deliberately failed to warn the US authorities because it wanted to ensure that American public opinion was hostile to the Arab world.
True enough, it still is.
Channel 4 traveled to Israel and spoke to 3 of the 5 men arrested that day to hear their side of the story.
True enough, let's hear it.
One of the neighbors give a call to the feds and tell there is a white van with 5 Arab people, as you see, blonde, blue eyes. And he tells there is a bomb in a white van. He gave the number, 5 Arab people, and they're on the way to Manhattan to make a suicide.
Not already, he's off. She didn't say that. Incidentally enough, when they searched the van, bomb dogs were called in. Meanwhile, the van is empty. Pure empty. And not only was the van empty, but it didn't look like it was used for moving. Okay. And on top of that, you had a number of items that were taken. Now, the 5 men were Sivan Kurzberg, Oded Elner, Yaron Shmuel, Paul Kurzberg, and Omar Mamre. 2 others that were arrested in Pennsylvania, who are far more interesting than these 5, Modi Butbol and Roy Barak. They just happened to be driving by where Flight 93 crashed. I'm not going to bring this up, right? But found on these guys, on their possession, were departure flights for September 12th. The next fucking day. All 5 of them. One ticket itinerary was dated September 12, 2001, which was scheduled to depart from JFK, Flight 412. Arrive at Athens, Greece at 17:45 o'clock, military time. And then a connecting flight on September 14th from Athens to Tel Aviv. What they didn't bank on was the airline industry to basically close, thereby interfering with them fleeing. I'm not making this up. This is actually true. Right? He found $4,500 in the guy's sock. Cash. They're not going to use their fucking bank cards, are they? Right? Leave a paper trail. But these guys are idiots. They let themselves be known, like celebrating. Stupid move.
I was the driver. The policeman took his gun and put it in my head.
Where are the bombs?
Also, the bomb sniffing dogs tested positive. Bomb residue on a blanket. I don't know. That's in the FBI report. I'm not making this up.
Where did you want to do the suicide? I don't know nothing about what to say.
But I told them that I'm just a tourist from Israel, I'm Jewish. And he told me, don't talk, if you talk I'm going to shoot you.
People were spitting on us from the street, they are passing with the cars and spit on us. Because they thought that we are the Arabs, they was looking for someone to blame.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Irish should be spit on, not me. I'm Jewish. It's fucking somebody. That's why these guys are dumb. They just come right out and say it. They'll be instinct. Fuck them.
I took these photos of the police searching the van. 5 men were inside it. Some had dual nationalities and were carrying more than one passport. Others had flight tickets to leave the US within days.
Yeah.
Fearing robbery, one had over $4,000 hidden in a sock.
They were ripping things, they took the camera, they were screaming at us all that time. Put your head into the ground or we were gonna shoot you.
They told interrogators they were working for Urban Moving, a shipping and storage firm run by an Israeli businessman who often employed Israeli students without work permits. The men say there was an innocent explanation for what was found in the van and their behavior on 9/11. They were, they say, simply on a working holiday.
We heard in the news that one of the plane was crashing down the building, and we thought it was an accident at the beginning. So we went up to the roof of Urban Moving, and we saw the building burning.
There is a better view from a building in Jersey that is up a hill, straight line to the World Trade Center. We decided to go up there. It's like 2-3 minutes from the office. Stand over there and take some pictures. Everyone wants pictures like this in his camera.
Their boss at Urban Moving, Dominic Suter, was questioned by the FBI, but then disappeared back to Israel. It left lots of
leaving his entire business behind, by the way. All the finance, everything. The People's Furniture, everything, which they didn't deliver for months. By the way, for a small warehouse, the FBI confiscated 16 hard drives, 16 different computers. You tell me that this is a normal procedure for a 50-man warehouse, 16 computers. Right.
Of questions and fueled suspicion about the 5 men. Investigators seized the firm's computers, and the investigation took on a new urgency with multiple lie detector tests.
They continue to ask, did you know the terrorists? Did you know where they flew from? Did you know what they were supposed to do? The answer all the time is no, I don't know even what you talk about.
The FBI wasn't satisfied. Channel 4 has learned from intelligence sources that some of the men's names were already known to American counterintelligence. Paul Kurtzberg admitted serving in an Israeli army anti-terrorist unit. He refused to take a lie detector test for 10 weeks.
I was serving in a special unit in the army, and it's not a big secret or something like that. But there are things that I have to keep to myself as loyal to my country.
There you go. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's it. The fuck are these people doing here? Working under the table for, pennies. Some of these guys didn't even get paid, according to the FBI report, when they interviewed employees at Urban Moving Systems. Because they knew that they're working on overstaying their visas. What are they going to do? First of all, every single one of these guys overstayed their visa. Some of these people didn't even apply for a work visa. There's different types of visas. If you're here on a student visa, you can't work. You got to get a work visa to pay taxes on the dollar. None of these guys did that. So they were deported, right? All these guys were deported. Smart move. The FBI can't arrest them for whatever crime. So the crime they committed was overstaying the visa. So it goes to INS and they deport them. Same thing for the Arabs. The Arabs, what crimes did they commit? What? They were giving money to hijackers? Well, that's not a crime. But what is a crime is they overstayed their visa. Goodbye. Oh, they went back to Saudi Arabia and Israel? Let's go talk with them. No, they are basically not willing to talk to you. And whatever intelligence that they had, you won't know because it's gone. Forget about 9/11. Islam is bad. Islam is bad, right? Yeah, sure.
The story that the feds build is very good story. When you hear their story, you start even to believe it inside. Okay, maybe I'm a spy. I'm sure that I'm not, but the story is so good, so maybe I am.
And you are. That's not for debate, right? You were celebrating the attacks. You were celebrating the attacks because you knew what was on those planes. Radical fundamentalists. You knew that the response for the United States was now we're going to war with Israel's enemies. And that's the more plausible scenario. Not the more irrational scenario is that this whole thing was made up by a 9/11 hijacker.
Al-Aviv is a counterterrorism advisor to the U.S. Congress, but was once a spy for Israel's Secret Service Mossad.
What's some color
He
in my
says
day?
Urban Moving was a front company for Israeli intelligence, and that some of its workers were spying illegally in the U.S.
Israel has engaged in intelligence gathering in friendly countries. Some of it is done with permission, and some of it probably has been done without permission in areas that is vital to Israeli interest, where large Arab communities operate and live, where there's a lot of fundraising for terrorist activities in the Middle East. That's the old undercover. This is the old way of gathering intelligence, which America has not used. If a decision is being made to put a bomb under a building during and after prayer on a Friday night in a mosque, you have to be in the mosque. You will not.
Bingo. I'm going to end it right there. Because I have a theory regarding 9/11 that Israel did have a mole. And just like Alfred Havley just basically said, in order for intelligence to be successful, you can't use from a satellite. You have to be inside the ring itself. It's like they're fucking telling you, hey, we had intelligence sources inside the United States, inside this operation. It's just that I can't prove it, right? I don't have definitive evidence. And so that's the end of this video. It was not made by a 9/11 hijacker. It was made by sources that saw Israelis celebrating the attack. There were intelligence operatives using a moving company to collect intelligence on the 9/11 hijackers themselves. It's not a conspiracy theory, a fringe one anyway. It actually is most likely the case. Like I said, I don't have it on paper that basically says that that was the case. But what I didn't mention was it wasn't just 5 Israelis who were arrested. It was over 200. And this is actually outlined in the Gerald Shea memorandum. Nobody talks about it. I'm one of the few. In fact, I'm the only person to ever do a read along regarding the document, which I will provide in the description below. Israelis using moving companies and posing as art students to collect intelligence on not just on all 19 of the 9/11 hijackers, but also on the FBI, the Drug Enforcement Agency, Southwest Laboratories, the Secret Service, and of course running an operation called Amdocs, which was covered by Fox News, and Fox News was told not to report on it. I wonder why. Have a good weekend, everybody. Stay safe.